Hello and welcome to this next step in the 5-week Saxophone Summer Challenge. So hopefully you've been playing the song Footprints now for quite a few days. You've learned the melody, you've stretched the melody, and of course together last week we've learned how to play over the chords using some arpeggios and some scale notes to kind of get in the groove with that a little bit, getting used to actually playing over the chords. And maybe some of you have even already soloed a little bit using those notes now. If you did, please, let me know in the comments how that went. I'm really curious to see how you guys are doing and would love to hear your feedback. And so in this lesson now we're going to add another step to that. And this next step is really kind of cool because we're going to kind of change how you solo by giving it some intention and purpose. So without just, having sort of your creativity do its thing, there's also some really cool tricks you can use to make your way of playing more intentional, and your audience are really going to pick up on that. This is a trick that I learned from a master improviser from the Conservatory Amsterdam who showed me this. And what I'm talking about is that you can either play from something, which is what a lot of people do, but you can also play towards something, like a point in the future that you're trying to play towards. And now that you guys know how it works with playing over the chords, switching from one sort of tone magic and chord magic to the next chord magic, where the chords and the notes that you use actually shift every few bars whenever the chords change, well, that provides us with a really cool opportunity. Because what's kind of the best way, or one of the coolest ways to solo, is that, say you're playing the first chord, yeah? So we're playing the first chord to Footprints. You should know what that is by now. And so you're playing this first scale, right? But we know that after a few bars, it's going to shift to the second chord. Now, what we can do is we can take one of the chord notes, so the 1, 3, the 5, or the 7. Those are kind of, what makes up this basic chord, because we're working with minor 7 chords. So it's the first, the minor third, the 5th, or the 7th, one of the chord notes. And what we can do is we can try to land on one of those chord notes whenever the chords switch. So it's a really cool challenge. I'm not going to say too much about it because I want you to just kind of take the idea and try it to see for yourself how it works, because this is something that I could get like really technical with you right now and sort of try to make it sound really complicated, but it's actually really not. It's one of the most simple things that a lot of jazz improvisers do, but when we start to intellectualize this thing, it can get really complicated really fast. So for all of you guys to try to keep everybody here and have you just try and experience something, so I want you to do the following. Solo, like either stretch the melody or play a little lick over what you've learned so far, using the chord notes, using the right scale notes, which you all should know by now. But when the chords switch from the first to the second chord, so ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da, not D minor, and then we go da 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 da, where we make that switch for the second da da on that first note to that second bar where the chord is different. Try to land either on the 1, the 3, the minor third, the 5th, or the 7th. So whatever you play, whatever, but when you hit that moment, so it's da 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 ba ba da ba ba da da, and then it comes da, and the moment that's where you want your solo line, your solo phrase to end on one of those notes. And maybe, you don't necessarily have to end your phrase, but you want to accent for a second one of the notes that's in that chord. So ba ba doo da da doo ba doo ba, or dee da doo ba da dee ba doo ba. Whatever note it is that you choose, whether it's 1, the 3, the 5, or the 7, that's okay. You can experiment with all 4. But the trick is, make a phrase, but now you have the intention to either end the phrase on the first beat of that bar when you switch the chords on one of the chord notes, or you want to accent one of the chord notes, so the 1, the minor third, the 5th, or the 7th, when that next bar comes. And what what that does is that it really makes you sound like you know what you're doing. So when you hit that chord note right in the right moment as the music is switching from the first chord magic, let's say, that we discussed in the previous video, to the next chord magic, people are going to hear that, oh wow, you're really hitting one of those strong chord notes right when the chords are switching. Similar to the song by the girls Yes Sister Jazz Sister in the previous video, where you constantly hear them sing and then go, every muffin seems to be broken.
Everything is made to be broken. I just want you to know. I want you to know who I am.
That's them every time hitting one of those chord notes. And so you want your solos to do the same thing. Yeah, so I'm not going to say too much about it. I don't want to intellectualize it and complicate it. Keeping it really, really simple. And the next lesson I'm going to dive into this a little bit more with the piano. But for now, just play whatever phrase you want, but you have an intention, you have a goal, and that's to land on one of the chord notes, either the 1, the 3, the 5, or the 7, minor third, remember, when the next bar starts. And you can apply that to every bar. So every time the chords switch, try to either end whatever phrase you're doing on one of the chord notes, or if you have a phrase that's longer, that's fine also. Try to accent on the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So on that one, you want to hit one of the chord notes. And once you start doing that and you kind of wrapping your head around it, you will see that your solos take up purpose. They're starting to take up some kind of intention where you, but also the audience, starts to feel that, hey, this person is going somewhere. This person knows where he's going. And you do, because you got one note in mind that you kind of chosen previously before you started. And you know, whatever I do, that's the note that I'm going to end on. Yes? So try it out, and I'll see you in, I think, 2-3 days for the next step with this.